Breaking the Glass Ceiling for One and All is a research study that includes 5 different studies to see what kind of effects and outcomes happen from women who work in leadership positions. The glass ceiling concept is an invisible barrier that prevents someone, mostly women and minorities, from advancing in their profession. The study presumes that more women in leadership will help break barriers for other women. Now let's begin with Study 1. Study 1 tests to see the effects of what happens to female workers based on the performance of female leaders, and if female workers gain more opportunities depending on if female leaders are successful or not. It's believed that a female leader would be positive and beneficial for female workers, but not when there is a male leader. After some testing, the results support the hypothesis of this study and show that there is an evaluative generalization from female leaders to female workers. Exposure to a female leader shows that there is more positive effects and outcomes for female workers, such as inspiring women to work towards a leadership position and help open more doors.
In the second study, it is anticipated that an unsuccessful female leader would confirm negative beliefs about women's lack of agency, and that a successful one would challenge these beliefs. Exposure to unsuccessful women leaders. Female candidates are predicted to be perceived as less agentic, meaning less dominant, independent, and self-reliant. This results into the perception that a woman candidate is less suited for the role and has a more negative screening decision. For Study 3, the focus is gender salience. They hypothesize that the performance of a female leader will affect the evaluations of a female candidate for a leadership position within a male company, but not when it's a female company. Results show that evaluative generalization only occurred in contexts where being a woman is novel and seen to be incongruent with the leadership role, and the degree to which gender is salient is intensified. No evidence of evaluation generalization was found between female leaders and candidates, which proves the idea that gender salience and evaluative generalization process goes hand in hand.
So we understand that evaluative generalizations from the performance of a female in a male-type leadership role will affect perception of a female candidate striving for the same male-type leadership position. And this occurs when there is a combination of gender salience and shared group membership. But does this same principle here apply to male leaders and male candidates? Well, we find that despite having group membership, male success, or failure that is, does not generalize to other males, meaning it does not hurt their chances of securing that position. And why? Because their gender is not salient in a male-typed leadership position in the way that it is for females. Hence, you must have both in order to see an effect. Now, let's envision a company that is perceived as being feminine in gender type, and subsequently, let's envision a male candidate applying for a position of leadership within the company. Let's make his gender now salient and see if the effect still stands. Assuming that gender salience and shared group membership are key factors for evaluative generalizations, whether or not this individual male succeeds or fails in his leadership position should matter for subsequent males candidates that apply. And now for the findings. Although the performance of a male leader significantly affected the perception of job fit of a male leadership candidate, it had no effect on screening recommendations or candidate preferences, meaning they still had an equal chance at getting that position. And these findings show that exposure to women and men in counter-stereotypical leadership contexts do not have fully analogous effects. The question is, where do we go from here? We can start with interventions that bolster the positive effects of exposure to successful female leaders and highlight both stereotype consistent and inconsistent information. We should beware of subtyping, where exposure to individuals who are incongruent with stereotypes are written off as exceptions not representative of the whole group. Women, specifically, should also be wary of becoming too aware of their potential to represent the group, as it can hinder their performance and reaffirm those negative stereotypes and generalizations. Lastly, one of the most straightforward ways to avoid evaluative generalizations is to reduce the extent that gender is made salient in the workplace. And with all these in mind and in practice, women may just find themselves holding more leadership roles confidently and successfully.
Thank you.